Okay, good morning, good afternoon, or good evening, depending on where in the world you are. I'm Manuel Palachuk, and welcome to From Lead to Revenue, Strategies for Closing the Sales Loop. I have with me my co-host, Rahul Kaul, and we're going to do introductions in a minute. But first, I wanted to give you a quick rundown about what we're going to cover. We're going to talk about some of the biggest pain points that Zomentum can solve for you in your workflow, for your revenue workflow. One of the top things is time-consuming quote preparation, basically how long it takes to get a quote prepared. Whether if you're using a manual process and you're piecing this together, it can take up a significant amount of time. Which delays the quote, which delays their action to sign, and it delays your revenue. And if you automate this process, it obviously can reduce all these pieces, but it also makes it so much smoother for everybody that's involved, whether it's you, the sales rep, the people that are doing the purchasing, the client, everything. And when things are streamlined, they move faster. It's that simple. We're going to talk about complex quote management, basically handling and tracking multiple quotes simultaneously. And that can get very daunting, again, if you're doing it manually. But even if you're doing it in one of these, in the kludgy tools that the PSA systems have built, you're going to find that it's just not clean, right? It also means that you're going to be missing opportunities. And this platform, resolves that, and it makes it easy for you to manage these multiple quotes. And it also removes things, not only relieving you of the manual quote process, but it drives out these inconsistencies in the quote process. And it also allows you to get access to a broader range of distributors when you're quoting and sourcing the equipment. One of the last main pain points we're going to talk about are some of the other common issues like limited stock availability. How do you deal with that? And again, that kind of goes back to having a broader range of vendors available. Slow response times from the clients. Again, the manual process. How it integrates with all of the tools that you use. Zomentum one of their main focuses was to see to it that this was highly integrated to all of the things that you need to bring into one place, into one homogeneous workflow for the quoting process to drive the revenue, right? That's why it's a revenue engine. It's a force multiplier is the way I put it. So then we've got a special offer for you if you want to get into this product, and we want you to get into this product. Again, I mentioned in the commercial I did that I love this product. I like these people. And I think that I think it's a game changer, and I think it can absolutely, revolutionize how you're doing quoting and the money that you're making. Especially, remember, you're supposed to be selling deep into your existing client base. And when it's as easy as the tech putting in a ticket, creating an opportunity, they take that opportunity, they go into Zomentum, and they do everything from end to end. And the client signs it, they buy it, ticket comes back, and it says waiting for parts. The parts show up, and we go deliver it. And if you streamline that process, selling deep into your existing client base becomes very powerful and very lucrative. So then right after that, we're going to do some Q&A. So with that, what I want to make sure you know is try not to use the chat to ask questions, because we're keeping an eye on the questions window. So if you got an actual question, put it in there. If you're having trouble with either hearing us or things like technical, you can use the chat for that. So with that, don't wait. And again, don't wait till the end. Go ahead and put your questions in now, because either I'm going to read them for Rahul and as you're asking them, or when we get to the end, we may have already answered them. But either way, we'll address all the questions that you have. So with that, again, I'm Manuel Palachuk. I'm an entrepreneur and a business coach. I've been in this industry as a business coach for 10 years, but I've been in the IT and service delivery business or channel for probably 35 years. I'm a pretty well-known speaker. I'm an author of several books, including Getting to the Next Level, which is on business strategy. If you've ever been to a Channel Pro event, you've seen me. I've put no less than 10 of my clients on the cover of Channel Pro magazine. I help them create success, and then I help them tell their story and share it. And that's how you get on the cover of Channel Pro. So needless to say, I've been doing this a while. I know about business strategy. I know about the industry. I know about the PSA and tools that you're using. And that's why when Zomentum came along, I see it and I recognize it as a game-changing tool. Okay, so now I want to introduce my co-host Rahul Kaul. Rahul, over to you.
Thanks, Manuel. Thank you for setting up the stage. Hello, everyone. On my quick introduction. So my name is Rahul. I am the Director of Sales here at Zomentum. Been in the enterprise SaaS business for over a decade now. Channel is fairly new to me, though. I've been in the channel while my time at Zomentum, and that's been a year. In fact, I think I just completed a year with Zomentum this month. So it's a milestone month for me as well. But yeah, I'm really, really excited to bring to you all the things that we can do for you in the channel community. I think we'll touch on all of the things that Manuel spoke of and dive deep and figure out how you can use a powerful tool like Zomentum to actually make your lives much, much easier when it comes to sales.
Okay, so with that, tell me a little bit about Zomentum. Tell me a little bit about the path of Zomentum and where it got started and where you find yourself today.
Right. So I think we were founded about 5 years ago, and we've been in specifically the channel and the MSP space since our inception. I think the insight was that traditionally the technology provider segment or the channel itself has been not catered to when it comes to sales or revenue solutions. Right. I think there've always been solutions that were designed for large enterprises that were being used in the channel in a patch fix way. And therein, I think the insight was that we need a dedicated solution for this particular community that takes a lot of these products, a lot of the technologies to the end customer, right? And we want to make their sales cycle as smooth as possible and give them the ability to scale their businesses, right? And that's where Zomentum was born. Essentially started off as a quoting and proposal building tool, but now it's evolved into something far more than that. I think along the way, we've made some acquisitions to bolster our portfolio, and we continue to invest in new products and features to simplify sales essentially for the channel.
Okay. And so, yeah, you mentioned, and we're going to talk more about this later after we get through some of the body of this, but you've made some acquisitions. The platform has evolved since when I was introduced to it. It was like, we want to make the quoting process and make it easy for you to sell and find and source your products. But you've got actually a couple more things going. We're going to focus on a bit of this, but I do want to touch on that and see what else is in the box here that people may not realize. So, okay, so with that, let's get started on the first thing. Number one thing, time-consuming quote preparation. Let's talk about how Zomentum solves that.
Yeah, so I think Manuel, the insight there is, I think through our time in the channel, I think what we've figured out is traditionally technology providers are either using very rudimentary tools or using something as basic as a Microsoft Word to create their proposals and quoting documents, right? Which is, again, as you said, not scalable as their business grows, right? And therein where Zomentum comes in with its proprietary solution, right? So what we've got is a unique drag and drop code builder and proposal generator, if you will, wherein it really, really simplifies the whole process of getting a requirement to turning it around into a quote and sending it over to the end customer, right? At the same time, it's got a bunch of functionalities that I'll touch upon in a bit that make the follow-up process, that make the signing off process such a breeze for most of the MSPs, right? So you don't have to actually subscribe to multiple services to get a quote through, right? So what we do here essentially is two things. One, we make it easy to create your templates and blocks, which means that creating a quote is as simple as dragging a template into our quote builder, adding products into it, which are again pulled directly from your distributors via our integrations, adding your markup, adding the fees, adding the service costs that you want to charge on top, and preparing a very modern looking quote to be delivered to your end customer, right? Having said that, that's not where we stop, right? What also happens is now instead of this being just a PDF, it also exists as a microsite for your end customer or your end customers to view, right? Which means that it's more interactive. The turnaround time is much shorter for A, for you to create, and B, for the end customer to actually go through it and sign off or approve it, right? What we've also got is built-in integrations with an e-signature solution. So you don't essentially have to subscribe to a third-party service to create a quote and then upload it into an e-signature tool and then send it over to the end customer, right? All of that happens right within the platform.
And so who have you partnered with for that e-signature, or do we have choices?
No, so we've got a proprietary partner who we partner with, and you don't see them on the Zomentum UI, so you don't need to pay for them separately either. All you get is the direct capability of doing an e-signature.
So it makes it kind of seamless, and that's good. Yeah, that's nice.
Exactly, right. At the same time, because we've got this proprietary quoting tool, you can do a lot of things with it, right? Essentially, a lot of merge tags. So you don't have to actually enter a lot of information when you're creating a tool. All you need to know is what is the product or service that you're actually going to push to the end customer, who the customer is. That will be in your opportunity and the details there. So all you need to do essentially is choose the template and your quote is created with literally in minutes, right? We've seen the time that it takes to create a quote drastically go down for our customers when using Zomentum vis-a-vis whatever else they were using in the past.
So, but how much front end work is there to get that set up? I mean, do I have to build the framework, or I just add my logo, pick a color scheme, and that's it? I mean,
it's interesting that you bring that up, right? Like it's exact. I mean, it sounds too good to be true, but it's exactly like that, right? It's literally a drag and drop block wherein you'd have a space for your logo or your collateral already there. All you need to do is upload that image, and it will appear in your quote or proposal, right? The other thing that it will do is you can save multiple templates, right? And don't worry if you don't have a template to begin with. Once you are onboarded onto Zomentum, you get a bunch of templates that we've pre-populated on the basis of the various use cases that we find in the industry, right? So you'll have quoting templates, you will have QBR templates, you will have proposal templates.
Oh, QBR templates? Oh, exactly. Okay.
Yeah, so you'll have all of that pre-populated, so you don't have to start from scratch. You will have them built in. All you need to do is figure out what's best for you, make edits if need be, and you're on your way.
Okay, and these are just flat files, like the words are in the right place. My logo shows up here. These got some style to them. They're not, they're not just the basic take this out and then I got to put borders around it, any of that. This is all really well formatted. Somebody spent some time on these on the back end to create these templates.
Oh, absolutely. And in some instances, I think our success team also helps with custom generation of these templates, right? Like if you've got something on your own and you don't know how to convert that to the Zomentum format, if you will, right? Our team will help you and guide you in terms of what that process looks like. It's fairly straightforward, to be honest. The other thing is that it's not restricted to just images and words, right? You could literally put in a video in there because it's online. So again, your quote will have, or your proposal will have a video within it, right? Again, it could be a recording of you talking about the roadmap that you want to take with the customer. It could be simplifying the solution for the end customer to understand its benefits. And again, multiple use cases depending on how you want to market your product, if you will.
Okay, so depending, if I'm not just like, even if I'm not a managed service provider, I'm doing break fix, that I can find a template that makes sense for me. That's more, that kind of, line items, sign here, that kind of thing, or QBRs, which is awesome. It's one of our biggest pain points for the people that, that are your target audience, is that they don't do QBRs as often as they should. One of the biggest pain points they have, aside from scheduling them regularly, is figuring out a format that makes sense. And if they've got something that look, that works. I can literally put in a link to the PDFs of all the ticket counts and all the other stuff on our website or somewhere else. I could put in a video that's a narrative of me going, hey, this is what we discussed on the last thing. And they could just, if they've got a template, it makes it easier. It removes one big excuse for not doing quarterly, semi-annual, monthly, doesn't matter. some kind of a report with a client where you're talking about the roadmap of their technology, which obviously, and which it makes sense because that's what drives revenue. It's what drives, okay, so we need this, this, and this, right? It's the tip of the spear of selling deep into your existing client base, is being in touch with their technology and helping them develop the roadmap. So that really makes sense.
Oh,
Okay.
absolutely, absolutely. Like again, just touching this again, right? Like it's not just the QBRs, right? Like you start with an assessment, and that eventually flows into your QBR, and that flows into a long-term relationship with the end customer, right? And it's like you said, the biggest roadblock in that journey is actually getting started. And with a template, which is as customizable as it is on Zomentum, you literally just need to know the pain points or the issues or the criticality levels that you want to be discussing with your end customers. You put them in there. It gives you a visual representation, a risk matrix, if you will, of where you want to take your customer, right? And the journey that they want to take with you.
Okay. So you're saying I can also do, if I do an assessment, you've got a template for that, or I do an assessment and then I get into Zomentum and build out the QBR.
You can do an assessment within Zomentum. We've got templates for that. We'll pull in all the required information from today. We do that with Microsoft. So 365, we'll pull in all the required information there, or you can create something manual, upload the information. So it could be through a CSV upload. It could be through a file essentially. So all you need to do is upload that information. We will convert it into a template, and that's your QBR or your assessment ready.
Okay. And then the client gets to see all of this. There's somewhere they can go in and see this trail of everything. Here's the assessment we did. Here's here's the QBR. Here's the recommended equipment list. And then if you like that, just sign the quote here, and then it just keeps going. It's just that simple.
Yes, absolutely. I think one of the things with any sales process is having context at all points in times, right? And it's more important for the seller to have context than the buyer in most cases, right? So what you can do is all of these documents are living, breathing documents that exist within Zomentum at all points in time once you've created them, and they are shared with your end customer. So very similar to how quotes or proposals would be shared with your end customer, these documents are shared with the end customer where they have complete visibility of what you're proposing. And then obviously, like you said, that flows into signups or incremental revenue.
And the best part, I mean, to me, is the client goes, yeah, I didn't get that quote. Okay, well, here's a link to it. It's the same one. You don't have to find it on your desk. I don't have to send you another thing in an email. All you got to do is go look, and you can see every step along the way of where we're at, and you're here, right? That you are here. All you got to do is we're ready to go. And because it's so funny that I think of them as end users, your clients, your target market. You'd build all these quotes, and they're like, yeah, I went on vacation for 2 days. I came back and I don't know where that is. That piece of paper that you sent me, or I printed it out, and you're like, nope, no problem, got it right here. But again, you're not sending them another link or another attachment in an email, right? You got a link, you can go see it online and see every bit of the process. I think that's very powerful.
Exactly, right. And it doesn't stop there, right? I don't want to keep sort of adding more information, but it's interactive in nature, right? So essentially, the client can comment, or you can give them the privilege of increasing or reducing the number of quantities that they'd want at any given point in time.
Nice.
So you don't have to do the back and forth or that dance of, okay, remove this or add that, and then you're back to the drawing board, reworking that Word document and then sending it over again, right? You've essentially given the ability to edit quantity, add comments, or share feedback right within the tool itself, which was instantly visible to you on your Zomentum instance as well.
So does that show up in like, is there the quote now is version 1.2, and there's a history of the chat or discussion, or that, that's still available? We can look back and go, wait, we talked about 5 machines, not 4, and we talked, and we can go back and say, well, let's go look at the notes. Like you said, you needed 5, not 4. And you changed it to 4 to 5. Like there's what do you call it? Accountability trail, right? So how did we get here? How did we end up here? And it's kind of, so that exists basically, right?
That exists, right? So you have a chat where it will all get captured in terms of what's been the activity on a particular document. Apart from that, obviously, once you've integrated your email with Zomentum, any communication that you're having with the end customer is also captured right there, right? So
Nice.
at any point in time, you have complete context of what's really happening.
Yeah, that's nice. And I'm going to remind people, if you want an actual demo, you want to see how this works, you can go to the Zomentum.com website. You can request a demo. They'll give you a one-on-one demo and show you, exactly how this works, use case. So, okay, so let's talk about, hang on a second here. I'm going to, got something popped up on my screen. Close that. Okay, so let's talk about the complex quote management that you mentioned. You say like handling and tracking multiple quotes simultaneously. Are you talking about me as the sales guy? I mean, I've got my own dashboard and I can see what's going on. Or are we talking about when you've got a client who's got 18 quotes, which I think we kind of covered that. If they've got a bunch of quotes in their system for their, sales department, for their marketing department, for their whatever, they can see all of this in a dashboard. But on the sales side, that's what you're talking about. So now me as a salesperson, I got my own dashboard or what?
Yep, exactly right. I think part of any salesperson's life is knowing where each of their customers are, right, and where they are in that journey of a lead to closure, if you will, right. And if you're talking to multiple people at the same time with different sales cycles, with different priorities at any given point of time, stuff tends to fall through the cracks, right? Especially if you don't have a process to manage all of that information. So all salespeople that use Zomentum have their own dashboard, can visualize exactly where each of their customers are in their pipeline, can know exactly what to do at any given point in time to move that conversation further within the funnel, right? Like I said, it not just a quoting and proposal solution, it allows you to manage your different leads or opportunities, right? Which essentially means that A, you have a track of where each opportunity or lead is. B, you can create tasks, you can create follow-up instances, you can create reminders essentially for yourself to know exactly at any point in time what needs to happen today once I log into my system, right? Like what is it that I need to do today to make things go further along. And that's unique for each of the salespeople that be using Zomentum. If you've got a small team, then everybody has a common view. If you've got a large team with every one person taking care of a particular region or a particular area of business, each of them will have their own individual views to know what they need to do today.
Okay, and I'm sales manager, and I got 3 salespeople working for me. I can go in and I can see everything that's going on my level, right? I get to see everything.
Oh, absolutely. I think that's paramount, right? Like as somebody who's managing multiple people, you need to have visibility on what's happening on a day-to-day level. So you can do 2 things. You can either go very micro and granular, which will allow you to have view of every opportunity there is, and you can essentially keep going down that rabbit hole and figure out what's really happening on each of those opportunities. Or you have a simplified reports view also available within the platform, which will give you at any given point in time who's doing how many activities are scheduled for today, what's the pipeline health looking like, what are the different stages any lead or opportunity is at, and who needs to sort of be congratulated on good work, or who needs to be sort of pulled up on where more effort is required, right?
Yeah.
Both
Give
are
it some
equally
incentive.
important.
Yeah.
Exactly.
So, okay, so when it comes to this whole these quotes and we're following these through the system, we're now looking at your dashboard. Does that quote or that request for a quote, the opportunity, does it now still exist in the PSA and we've just put an overlay that makes it easier to manage and work inside of what the PSA has given us? Or have you pulled it out and it's here and it's disconnected from the PSA?
I don't know how to answer that question because it's a bit of both, right? Essentially, what we do is we do integrate with your PSA. So all your opportunity stages, and if you want them mapped as they are in your PSA, which most of our customers end up doing, they will be synced, which means that what's happening here will be reflected on your PSA and vice versa. But this just gives you and again, if you've ever done sales, you know that you want the path of least resistance, right? This just gives all your sales teams an easy way to perform their job, right? So this is a standalone tool, which on the back end is integrated with your PSA. So everything, you don't have to worry about information mismatch, if you will. But just this makes life of a salesperson much easier.
Yeah, that's what I was getting at is I'm a technician. I went out to ABC Co. They said, we need a new printer. I went back and created a ticket, or sorry, the printer failed. I got to think about how I tell people to do service delivery. You don't create a ticket because you have an opportunity.
Yeah.
So I'm working on a ticket to fix the printer. And it turns out it's dead and we need a new one. So I go to the ticket and I say, create opportunity, and I link it together. I know I can do that in ConnectWise and Autotask. And now there's an opportunity in the sales board, and a ding goes off in the bell in the sales department. We've got to quote a new printer for ABC Co. The ticket for the tech gets put waiting on parts or waiting on customer response or whatever. But I want to, let's say I'm the service coordinator. I want to look in, and I don't want to call sales and know. I should be able to look in there and go, what is the status of that opportunity that's attached to that printer? Because their printer's down. And if I click on that opportunity in ConnectWise, let's say, it'll have the right status of waiting on quote or quoted or won or whatever. I'd be able to see that, right? I don't have to go in. I, as a tech, don't have to go into Zomentum to see that, right?
Absolutely.
Okay, see, to me, yeah, so I don't see anything more than I need as the tech, but it will be accurate. It's not like we've removed it and everything happens over here and I have to go manually. So that's an important integration. That's a very important integration.
Exactly. And again, like I said, right, like I think going back to when we're talking about why we exist as a company, right? I think that was the insight, because most tools are sort of not made for this market. So then they don't integrate as well as we do, right?
Right.
Something as simple as this is overlooked by majority CRMs, if you will. Right.
Well, that's where, when I first met Zomentum and Trudy and her brother, that was a number one thing. They said they want this to be smooth and easy and intuitive and graphical and integrated, and everything I see, that's exactly what they did. But some of these pieces you can't get away with. Like, these PSAs are horrible the way they've written. They wrote it for the service delivery process, and it's like all the sales stuff is an afterthought. Projects. Like, anybody on here tell me that the project component inside of Autotask, ConnectWise, TigerPaw, any of these works well? I'm sorry, no, it doesn't, right? The sales thing is kludgy on all of them. I mean, it's horrible, and it's just, it's not intuitive. But like you say, when it should be like this flow where I go in and I can just look at what I got on the board. I can nurse each of these communications threads to advance them, and then go work on the next one. And that's what I believe you guys have built, and it's a beautiful thing. So let's talk about some of the other common issues that folks have. You mentioned like limited stock availability, slow response time, either from vendors or whatever else. What are some of the things you guys do to make it easy to figure that part out? I know you'd mentioned like multiple providers having different distributors. That I'm not clear on.
Absolutely. No. So obviously, if you're somebody who's providing equipment or hardware, right, you need to know where that equipment is it available, and what's the going rate, if you will, to be able to quote to your end customer. And what we do is, you don't have to step out of, again, because we wanted to create a holistic solution for everybody in the community who's selling, to not have to go through multiple hoops to figure out what to quote, right? We natively integrate with your top distributors across the world, if you will. So Ingram, Tech Data, DNH, Dicker Data,
nice.
of course.
Yeah.
Right. They're all natively integrated. So at any point in time, you will have stock availability, you will have price availability, so that you don't have to figure out what to quote and at what price. Right. You can essentially use the Zomentum search and figure out where this particular equipment is, what's the availability, who's selling it for the lowest amount, and pick that as your source.
So right, that's the first thing I think of is Tech Data's got an incentive thing on Lenovo laptops. I'm going to see that. I'm going to I'm going with those guys because I'm going to get extra bounty points, kickbacks. I'm going to get them at a lower price, whatever. But then I've got a time window because I got to take action on that before I have to place my order. So now I'm going to go back to the client and go, here's the deal. If you act now, I can get these at a discounted rate. I'll pass that discount on to you. I mean, I'm still making my 20% or whatever, but why not pass that on the client, knowing that and having that your tips your fingers, instead of waiting for the flyer to come into your email box from Tech Data saying we are having a Lenovo sale, or calling your rep to say I got it, and they say, oh, by the way, we're having incentive. You just see the best price and you just go, okay, what's my, maybe you might have to, I might have to, I think, leave the system to go look at the constraints of that offer and how long it's for. But man, if it's on discount and I can tell the client, they're going to say, yeah, pull the trigger. Let's get those. Yeah, let's go ahead and order them a week earlier or whatever and get that discount. That's cool.
Exactly.
So what you guys have, your clients are in the UK and Europe area, right? You've got people signing up over there, probably at some level.
Yeah. So again, obviously we're global in terms of our footprint today. Obviously US being one of our larger markets, but we have a good presence across the UK, Europe, and parts of ANZ as well.
So like in Europe, one of my clients is in the UK, and I think it's Samsung is their preferred provider, but I don't know if they've got their own pricing structure that you tap into, or do they sell? What I don't remember is if they sell through Tech Data or not, and I don't know. So like, how many different vendors have you got? Like you get Tech Data, Ingram Micro, like you just keep adding more as they give you access to their API, basically.
Yes.
Or their roster, their not their API. What do you call it? Their, and what's called
the XML feed, if you will.
Okay.
Right? Yeah. So the answer is yes. We do sort of continually make efforts to add more and more distributors onto the platform natively. But for the ones that are not present natively, right, we've got a new feature that we very recently launched, which allows you to essentially connect any distributor out there with Zomentum, right? So most of the distributors will essentially give you a feed of information which contains stock and price availability. What you can do with this connector is essentially plug into that stream and have that available again real time, right? Which again, you don't need to now switch out of context and go to another tool to figure out what you can quote. Now you have your Ingrams and Tech Data and a particular distributor that you work with in the local region, all available in the same pane of glass.
Okay, so I guess that brings us to, is that the coolest new feature you guys got, or is there something else either just recently released or on the horizon?
Yeah, I mean, this has been one of the newest features that we've got, right? This particular custom distributor integration, which allows you to essentially now add vendors that you're working with that weren't essentially present on the platform earlier. Again, goes back to giving you the ability to pick the best vendor, the best price, and best availability. But outside of that, I think artificial intelligence is the talk of the town. So we've also done a bit of integration there. One of the most time-consuming tasks while building out proposals and quotes is actually to fill them out, right?
The narrative of what you're trying to say. Okay, so how does that work?
Right. So we've basically integrated with generative AI now. You could essentially give it prompts on what the customer problem is, what's the solution that you're proposing, and let it print out either 100-word or a 50-word or however long or short you want.
Or regenerate because I didn't like that response, or
exactly
use the voice of whatever, right?
exactly.
Yeah.
What might appeal to somebody who's a CSIO or a CEO or whoever else, right? And then generate your narrative around it to be able to just put it on your quote or proposal document, right?
That is so powerful, because I don't know what the people are going to watching this now, or they're going to do the watch it later. What AI is so cool, because I played with it, is that I can literally say, when speaking to a VCIO, or when speaking to a procurement agent, when speaking to a CEO, I need to make clear why this is a benefit, and and it'll craft that answer for the language that a procurement agent would see. This is the best cost benefit, blah, blah, for this product based on all of the options, right? That because they're about money. If you're talking to the CEO, you go, this has got the longest, it's the best business class machine with the longest life, And the narrative that it generates is going to be based on the audience, and it's going to do it better than me, and most people who, I would say most, right? Small business is the backbone of the world. The vast majority of IT service providers out there are between 1 and 20 people.
Yep.
And many of those started as a technician, and they know how to speak, they know how to write, they know how to stand up and talk, but crafting that narrative for different audiences on the fly is not easy. And so to me, that's a really cool tool. I mean, that's, that's powerful. So,
Absolutely, I completely agree with you, right? Like, and even take it one step further, right? Like now you can even contextualize it for the kind of business that you're positioning it into. Right?
oh, this is a hospital. This is
Yeah.
a real estate agency. Yeah. Okay. Yeah.
Right. And that gives you endless opportunities, right? Now you don't have to actually spend time in coming up with narratives. You don't have to spend time in drafting those out. And the other thing with these templates or the narratives that have been around, they're starting to get archaic, if you will, right? Like nobody's actually put in the work to update those. But with AI, you know that you're talking the most cutting edge stuff. You know that the information there is going to be up to date. Right. And again, it's not completely, again, I think the other thing that we've been very careful with, it's not completely in the hands of AI. You always have a sense of control on what goes up there, right? So if you don't like it, you can ask it to sort of come up with something else.
Yeah. Yeah. This is, it's not like, it's one thing to use Grammarly, to help you with the spelling and the wording. And even Grammarly starting to get AI involved.
Yep.
And to what level, I don't know. But when, you're literally just saying, like, for me, it's my wife. I'll be like, Laura, I need to have this make sense to people that aren't me. And so she recrafts it. She's my AI. and I don't second guess that. But when somebody can go and just say, give me 10 different ways to say this, it's really cool because like you say, you can craft it for where you're going. I'm going to tell you that if you guys haven't already done a presentation webinar for your clients on AI and how this works, man, you got to do that, because I think that you could spend 45 minutes just talking about all the ways that can help them, because there are a lot of people that they don't know how to phrase it. They're just tech talk in their brain. Yep. So that's all that comes out of the keyboard. And like you said, recent, relevant, when somebody reads it, they go, this is fresh language. This isn't boilerplate. Here's the hardware you ask for, sign here. Like there's a lot more to it. And that's, I think, is really cool. So how fast is that advancing? I mean, you guys started working on AI, came on board and really kind of popularity just in the last handful of months. What have you guys got in the future for that? Like, what can you even give us what you guys even think it could do for you in the future?
So again, I think it will all depend on the uptake of the functionality and what our customers ask for, right? I think we've always been a company with our ears close to the ground. And very sort of proactive in picking up customer requests and building that either into features or solutions in itself, right? So, I think it's early days, like you said. So there are endless possibilities. I don't have a complete view on what the AI roadmap for our products looks like, but I think it's going to be largely defined by our customers.
Okay. So, okay, how about this? Can you share with us maybe a case study or some group successes that you've seen from your clients that use your product, that where they've seen a real increase in productivity or whatever?
Yeah, so I think a few of the markers that we've seen of success with our customers, right? Essentially, customers who've used the proposal generation, the code building functionality of Zementum, integrated their distributors or vendors into the platform. I think what we constantly hear from them is the amount of time it saves them, right? Like the amount of effort it saves them to actually turn around those codes. I think on an average, when we surveyed these bunch of customers, the drop was close to about 70%, right? It takes 30% of the time that it used to take. So if it was taking you 30 minutes, now it's essentially less than 10, if you will, right? So and that's huge, right? Because again, it's not just every time you make those, every time you have to even edit it, there's time lost, right? There's productivity lost. You've sort of gone out of context. Maybe you're caught up with something else, and now this is on your plate. The other thing that we've seen is our customers have started to see increase in the average deal sizes that they get, and I think that's got
an increase in what?
In the contract sizes that they're signing up with their customers, right? And I think it's got something to do with the QBR, the assessment capabilities that are built in, right?
If they're using those, because again, now the client's in on the conversation about where their technology is going, and it's easier. You're not so much selling them, you're supplying them. And those are two different things, right?
Exactly.
Like,
Now
we
you've
already know
got
we need that. Okay, that's the right product. Great, let's sign here. Instead of,
exactly.
yeah, let's hold off on that. We didn't talk about that, and I'm not sure we need it. We're like, yeah, no, you need this. Instead, you have the QBR, everybody's in sync. Yeah, okay, that makes sense.
You're becoming a trusted partner, right? Instead of just another vendor for your customers, right?
That's an important
and then the last thing that we've seen is like a drastic increase in win rates of opportunities. And I think, again, I attributed to two things. The number one would be just the plain visibility of all things that are going on with your business, right? Because most times, most deals or opportunities are lost because you've lost track of what needs to happen, or you've forgotten to follow up when you had to follow up. But now with a solution like ours, you have complete visibility on what needs to happen and when it needs to happen. And the second thing, though, again, we've taken away a lot of the friction when it actually comes to closing out an opportunity or a deal, right? Like, you can essentially send over a quote, which is interactive. The customer can update quantities to the right amount. They can give you feedback on the fly, and they can e-sign it even on their cell phones if they need to, right? So that essential friction of actually closing out deals has gone down, which means that they're closing more deals than they used to in the past.
Yeah, that's always been, when I coach clients, the number one thing is, well, I'm behind, because I always talk, what's the funnel for inbound revenue? It's tied to those quotes. And they're like, well, I got to do invoicing. Yeah, okay. And then I got to do quoting. And it's always this dreaded thing because of how long it takes to, invoices. I got to go review and make sure we're not overcharging them. I got to go build the quote. I have to find the stuff. And that's why Zomentum is like, man, make that as easy as you can. So, okay, so how about this? Okay, how does somebody get started? I mentioned that, you could get a demo, you could get a hands-on demo from somebody, but how does somebody get started if they want to get started with Zomentum?
I think before we actually go into that, I think there are a couple of other things that I do want to mention now that you've brought it up, right? Essentially, when it comes to invoicing and charging the end customers, right? I think we see that as a gap in our product. That's something that we can fill in, and I think I can say it now that our own internal payment solution is in beta now. So those of you who are interested in having a solution that does your selling end to end and then also helps you collect money from your end customers while sending them the invoices, you should sign up for the beta platform for Zomentum.
So this is part of the integrated Zomentum offerings.
Yes.
Well, I asked you about the newest cool tool. You see, so now I can also collect the money right then and there. So they can now we just went one step beyond signing. Now yes. they just swipe their credit card and the money shows up.
Exactly.
Okay.
And you can set up those invoices. We'll integrate with your accounting solution. We've got a few already integrated, few others on the roadmap, and that's where I'd urge all the listeners today to actually sign up, because our earliest customers are going to be the ones who would be defining the roadmap on the integrations that the payment solution is going to take on board first in terms of priority, right? So if that's something that you're also looking to be more efficient with, I think now's a great opportunity to get on that program. We'll essentially be hand-holding you through the whole journey as we test out our beta and then eventually take it public very, very soon. And so, yeah, I think that's the other thing that I wanted to definitely call out. And yeah, we've got our in-house billing reconciliation solution. So if you're worried about tallying up the right invoices, if you're worried about whether you're overcharging your customer or undercharging them, more importantly, we've got Zomentum Connect, again, a solution that's built into the platform, will help you essentially reconcile all your invoices from your vendors to your customers, knowing that you've billed everybody the right amount, knowing that you're not under provision when it comes to licenses that you've purchased already to your end customer, right? So again, saving a lot of pain when it comes to the end of month invoicing process, if you will.
Yeah, I'm curious about that. We're almost out of time, but that's got my curiosity, because I have clients like, again, I push them on accounts receivable has to be in order. You can't have too much money out. Who owes you money? The client goes, we delivered 5 laptops and never charged the client. And I'm like, how did you do, like, I don't even know how you got there, right? I'm a big proponent, small companies, you need to get paid for the hardware and then it gets ordered. You need to pay for projects 50% down, 50% on delivery or landmarks. We're not, you're not a bank. We can't afford, you can't afford to do that. You need to get paid. But if this helps you look after that process to see to it that, you're, whether it's the machine count or any of that's something, that's a whole another conversation. But you opened another thing that I want to ask you about. You said, if people get in on the beta, get in now, then they're in on the beta for this, the billing side. They're part of your agile, because you guys are an agile mindset, meaning continuous incremental improvement. Like they get to be they're on the front line helping you develop this machine. It's not like, oh, put in a request for a change, and like, ask that from ConnectWise, and you might see it in another lifetime. You're talking about, you guys are, and I think this is probably why I've seen your product expand and grow very quickly, very cleanly, very well integrated, is because you guys follow this agile mindset, right? So if these people get in now, they're in on the beta for that. They can help influence what the baked good looks like, and that's important.
Yeah. Like I said, right, I think we've always been an organization with our ears close to the ground. So this is yet another one of those things where we're inviting our customers to define what, like you said, the end good looks like, right?
What it should look like, what it should feel like.
Exactly.
It needs to have this, it needs to have that. And that's powerful. That's awesome. I know that you guys are there's just so much more to this, because years ago it was just this quoting thing, and it's so much more now. There's multiple components. So they go to the website and they can see I know you got a really well built website. They can see some of the other platform things, and it's I think it's pretty well laid out of what you guys address and what you can help. And like somebody could spend a half a day just reading your website just to get some idea what you do. But okay, so now if somebody said, hey, I want to get in on this, and especially because I want to get in on this beta and be involved in that invoicing thing, because you've now just described, I didn't realize that if it goes to invoicing, you've got now absolutely end to end from the time somebody puts in an opportunity to the time the money shows up in my bank. Man, that's as smooth as it gets. How does somebody get started with Zomentum? I mean, at any.
I think I'm just going to pull up the details on screen for everybody who's on the webinar today. Essentially, it's as simple as going to Zomentum.com/demo, and that's where you can sign up for a demo with Zomentum. You will be guided through an exact product demo custom to your requirement, where your business is in its stage. Do you have a 2-man shop, or do you have a 20-member army going out and getting business for you? And those setups might be slightly different. So our product expert will walk you through what that looks like, and take your exact requirements, right? That's exactly where you can also sign up for the payments beta program. And one of our product managers will get in touch to understand your exact requirements, show you what that product looks like today, and it fits the bill. What are the additional features or functionalities that can be built out for you?
Okay. So I actually have several clients that use this. The funny thing is, we're doing this webinar. Of course, I'm telling everybody in social media, I'm sending out emails. I've had several people come back and go, oh my gosh, we're already customers of Zomentum, and it's like they want to have a conversation with me about Zomentum. And I'm like, but I don't sell the product. I just like the product. I know the people, but I don't actually use it. So I couldn't talk about it. But they're excited. They're like, oh, because I said Zomentum, like they're excited. And then I have a lot of people who have said, I didn't even know they existed, right? And so whether they're on this call or they're going to watch the replay, the thing is, you guys are gaining market share and making noise. And I think it's going to be very obvious that you guys are the absolute best solution for this. And it's going to be awesome, because it's just going to get better and bigger from here. So okay, so with that, we're going to open it up to Q&A. If you got questions, type them in. And the other thing is, somebody's already on Zomentum, are you guys going to be reaching out, and are you going to have a campaign to let people know, hey, we've got this beta going for the invoicing side? So like, so some of my existing customers can get in on there, or do I got to tell them? Or are you gonna?
Yes, absolutely. I think we are proactively reaching out to our customers and inviting them onto the program. Anybody who's not heard from us already is more than welcome to go to the zomentum.com/demo website and sign up, and be rest assured that somebody will be reaching out. I think we're going in a particular priority order in terms of the customers that we are touching and reaching out to, because we, like I said, since it's a beta, we know certain parameters need to be kept in mind. So we're going in that priority order. But if you haven't heard from us already, be sure to reach out to us, and we will walk you through what we've got today and how it can be customized for you.
Hey, can you go back to the slide that says there's a discount code that they can get their 25%?
Oh,
Basically,
absolutely.
you sign up. That's only good to the end of
August.
Right? You sign up with this code MJuly25, and you get 25% off. Right? That's, and you know, this isn't being advertised. So if you're not on this,
yes,
if you're not on this call now and you don't watch the replay, you're never going to know about this, right?
That's correct. So it's exclusively for everybody who's been patient and kind enough to attend the webinar today. And for those who's going to go onto our website, in the resources section, find a copy of this webinar and go through it, they can avail this particular coupon for 25% off when they sign up for Zomentum.
Okay. So I got a question that somebody wants to know. What are the key features that set Zomentum apart from its competitors in the market? Basically, we talked about a lot of key features, but what are some of the key features that sets it apart from whoever? I don't even know who your competition is.
Yeah, I think that it's got a fairly simple answer, Manuel. I think the features individually, I think there exist competitions who do quoting, who do proposals, who do QBRs and CIO. There's competition that does e-signature separately, right? And payments separately, for example, billing reconciliation separately. I think there isn't a solution that does all of that in one place, right? And does it as seamlessly as we do. I think a lot of our competition does not integrate as well as we do with leading distributors and leading PSA systems, right? Again, going back to the issue of information mismatch between multiple systems that your organizations using today. So I think what sets us apart is, one, our proprietary quoting and proposal building tool, which is simple as breeze. And the second thing is the fact that we integrate all of these multiple processes for which otherwise you would subscribe to 3 to 4 different services all in one place, all in under one umbrella, which makes the whole process very, very seamless.
Okay. And you guys your aim is single pane of glass for this whole thing, all integrated, all in a row. And your competitors, one does this, one does this, one does these two, but there's nobody that does all of this. And I think that, to me, that's a significant competitive advantage. One of the biggest things I say in my book, Getting to the Next Level, I talk about business strategy. I talk about when you partner, when you have a strategic partnership with a vendor, buy into their whole stack. If you believe in that, buy into the whole stack, because you're going to get the best integration. You're going to get the best response. You know, you're going to get there's a reason they call it a strategic partnership. And if they've got the right solution, don't break out this and just use this and then somebody else's thing. It's not going to integrate as well. They're not going to be as responsive. These guys are going to say it's this guy's fault. These guys are going to say it's this guy's fault. But when it's one single pane and it's all there, these guys they're in this to help you out. I have another question real quick. Somebody says, how long is it good to? It says valid until 31st of August 2023. So if you basically either do your demo and sign up, they know they got your name. You probably get a notice saying if you were on a demo, or if you sat in on the webinar and you didn't activate this, you're probably going to get an email from Zomentum telling you,
yes,
like that you're getting closer to the deadline on July 30 or August 31st. But that's when it's good to. I have another question. Says, how does Zomentum assist in lead management to help sales teams stay organized and focused on high potential prospects?
Right. I think we covered this in parts when we spoke about the complex quote management process, right? I think there are 2 parts to it. One, like I said, single pane of glass where you have complete visibility into your entire pipeline. And again, that's broken down, and that can be broken down by multiple factors, right? or parameters. And one of those parameters is the revenue associated with that particular opportunity or client, right? Which tells you that at any given point in time, who's your highest priority when it comes to revenue that can be delivered from a particular opportunity. It's all there. It's all visible as soon as you log into your systems, and then you can start acting on it. For managers or people who are managing a team of salespeople who are working with them, again, you can create custom views for yourselves, which mean that you will be able to define thresholds above which you will have a strategic view of each of the deals or opportunities that you're working with.
Okay. So somebody's on the webinar, their name is actually Junk Mail. The Junk Mail had asked, how long is the 25% good for? And now Junk Mail says it didn't mean to ask how long the offer was for, but how long will the 25% be applied to the ongoing monthly annual fee?
Yeah.
In other words, so it's 25% off. Is that what, for until forever? Is it for a year? Is it annual subscription or what?
It's for a 12-month period, regardless of whether you're on an annual subscription or on a monthly subscription.
Okay. Now I'm going to throw this out there. If this was even 10% or 5% for a year, you have to know that if you're 1, 2, 3, 4 person operations, even more critical. What this can save you in time is going to far exceed 25%, or even 5, 10, 15, or 25% of the value of Zomentum as a tool. I can promise you that, right? If not, you're not using it right. There's just no way. The amount of time it can save you. And if you're the principal, you're better off. You're supposed to be going out and getting sales, not closing and nursing them. You're supposed to be out talking to clients, getting new clients, finding the next 5 people you're going to hire or steal, not wasting time doing quotes and that don't look alike. The time you will spend, you will forget about this 25%, in the second year. The other thing is there's possibility in the next year that they'll have some other cool stuff that adds so much value to it that you're just no way it's not going to be worth the full price. That's my opinion.
Absolutely.
Okay. I think last question. I think we're going to wrap this up. They said they're asking, what integrations does Zomentum offer with other popular tools or platforms to streamline the sales workflows? Basically, what else you got? What else do you know?
So again, like I said, right, like I think we've covered a lot about the integrations that we already offer. So largely our integrations is with all the different PSAs that are out there, majority of them. And we have native integrations built out with most of the distributors. And like I said, we've taken efforts to ensure that the ones that we don't natively integrate with, we're giving you a connector with which you can integrate with the help of our support team with the particular vendor that you're working with, right? We also integrate with, if you're using a particular marketing CRM. So if you're using a HubSpot or an Infusionsoft, you can integrate those two into Zomentum as well. So all your marketing materials or all your sales and marketing material that you're doing before an opportunity is generated can also then flow directly into Zomentum and not have a disparate system for doing marketing and another system for actually doing sales, right? So
you doubt, so I could do a marketing campaign about Ingram Micro's got a sale on Lenovo until the end of September, and I do a marketing scheme on that. I can follow that all the way through the process from the time we put out those ads, got an opportunity, won the opportunity, quoted them, sold it, and now that's all like in one
place, right? So we do integrate with those CRMs as well. So again, and we integrate with a bunch of payment solutions. We integrate with a bunch of accounting solutions. So again, you don't have to leave the platform for any of those things, right? All of that information is natively available because we're integrated.
Yeah, well, and there's nothing I love more than a single pane of glass for the thing I'm doing, if it's sales process or service delivery process. So I think that's it. I haven't seen any new questions pop up. I'm going to cover a couple of things really quick. First off, is there like a roster of who you integrate with somewhere on your website, or is it like depending on which platform that or which thing you're looking at, or is there, if they go to your website, they can actually see a roster of who you integrate with?
Absolutely. There's an integrations page on our website, which will list down all the different vendors, all the different distributors, all the different solutions that we integrate with technically. And again, there are FAQs available on how you can do that on your own. But like I said, I think one of the other things that sets us apart is our support and our customer service, right? I think we offer an onboarding to each customer that signs up with us. So they don't have to go through the hassle of figuring out how are they going to set Zomentum up for their stack of tools, but we help them through that process and set it up for them as well.
Yeah, that's nice. Well, again, I said it before. I like the people. I like the product. If you want a demo, you go to zomentum.com/demo, right?
Yep.
The flat 25% off for the 1-year subscription is good through August 31st. Use the code MJuly25. And then if you got follow-up questions, go to the next slide if you would, Rahul. You can get a hold of him anytime. Don't send me questions about the product because I don't know. I would just have to email Rahul, and I'm not going to do that. But if you want to get in touch with me about any of the other things that you heard me discuss, because you either have questions or interests or how that thing goes, you let me know. And I think with that, we're done. And thank you all for listening in. If you're catching this on the replay, that's probably the best reason to get Rahul's email address, is because he might, he'll answer your questions and whatever. And with that, I think we're done. Thank you all again for participating, and thanks, Rahul, for having me on with this. It's been fun.
Thank you so much, Manuel. It's been a pleasure.
Okay, take care.
Take care. Bye-bye.